You've done a great job over the years in terms of communicating CSEA's message, and you've been out in front of a lot of things in terms of commercials and branding and so on and so forth. So I know you know how important communications is, but I just wanted to ask you one last thing. The governor earlier today had actually given raises to 4 press aides between 10 and 13,000, but quickly, I believe, rescinded them and is now saying it's the union's fault because they're distracting us all on the key issue. What's your reaction to that?
I think the governor should go back and talk to the mental health people because the services are definitely needed. I think the governor, unfortunately, got caught doing what the governor seems to be doing. A couple of weeks ago, he sat down with Kenny Bryan and myself and said, could we talk about a lag? We said, well, we have to go back to our members, but let's talk and let's see what we can do. We then left that room. The next morning, we found out the governor had tried to rescind the 4% raise we were entitled to by contract, and then he was blaming us for not being responsive to his request for a lag. The last time I looked, that's not negotiations. That's not even being reasonable with the people you're talking about. This is the same governor who yesterday gave his employees, I'll try to find a nice way to say this.
I know you're struggling.
Very hard. His employees a raise and said it was justified because they're doing more work. Then damn it, look at the people in the jobs that we're representing because they're doing a lot more than he ever did or that they ever did. They're out there every day struggling to try to provide services to the communities that they live in and to taxpayers of the state of New York. Most of the people he gave raises to are people that only deal with him and the legislature. Now, they probably need the money to deal with that because they have to deal with the psychotic issues that these people have. But that doesn't require a $5,000 to $10,000 raise. And when him to say that we're distracting people, or I understand he says, well, we should give up our step raises or whatever. Wait a minute, Governor. In the midst of this disaster you keep talking about, in the midst of no one negotiating with you and no one trying to find a way out, how do you justify giving raises to staff that basically work for you? That makes no sense. That's an insult to anybody's intelligence. And more importantly, it says to our members, why in the world would we trust him? Or how could we trust him when he does these things after he says how unreasonable we are? If we're unreasonable, Governor, you're stupid.
If you could deliver one last message to those watching this piece in terms of who CSEA is and who you represent, just in a couple of words, what would that be?
I would say we're the community. We're your neighbors. We're your brothers and sisters. We're the people that work with you. We're the ones that go to the movie theaters, buy the food in your restaurants, purchase the materials that you sell to us every day. We recognize that we're a vital part of New York. We need you to recognize the same. We also recognize that for us to do our part, we have to be able to pay our bills in New York. To say that if we somehow get torn down, if we lose what we have, you're better off, that's not true. We're in this thing together, but then treat us with the respect we deserve, a word that the governor seems to have forgotten.